How's it going, everyone? We're here with the Super Saiyan Kefla, the very first female Saiyan figure to come out, and first from her universe as well. Just, I guess, a bit of a preface for this review. I think I might be losing my voice a little bit, so if it kind of cuts out a bit or goes a bit weird here and there, I do apologise. I'm going to try and keep the speaking to a minimum for this release. Now, she originally appeared on a survey last year, was it February, at the Battle Hour event, and she was the winner of that competition. She was voted #1, hence why we have her figure right now instead of someone badass like Janemba. But whatever, some people really wanted her. Now, does she live up to that hype or not? Well, we shall find out in a moment. For her box, so we've got the usual design. She was a premium bundle release in Japan, so we do have the Tamashii Web exclusive logo there. She has the silver tie sticker, the Tamashii Nation's quality seal, all that good stuff. On the back, we've got a nice selection of her accessories. She does come with some really cool accessories actually, especially those swirling key blasts there, which we'll have a closer look at in a moment. So yeah, that's it for the box. Let's just pop her out and get a closer look. You know it's a good release when you've got the accessories in a separate packaging. That is always a good sign for me. So we've got the two key blasts here attached to hands. And in the centre we have Kefla herself with the kind of smirking face. On the left we've got the two additional faces, the kind of teeth gritting, then the open mouth shouting one. Followed by a key blast which does attach to this hand here. And speaking of hands, we also have an additional 3 pairs of hands. Sorry, 2 pairs. And then we've got one for clutching her fist and the pointing finger. And then on the very bottom we have the crossed arms look, which you can switch on and off with her. So yeah, I mean, a decent selection of accessories. I mean, we've got a unique effect over here, key blast, and a good selection of hands. That's something I'd love to see in every figure. So far on that front, she's a winner. But anyway, let's get a close look to her actual mould and that finish. Okay, we've got her out of her packaging now. She does have a big head already, so have to be careful what we say, otherwise she might fall over. But yeah, I mean, straight up just looking, I think she looks really nice. Her hair colour is really good. It's got a nice finish and that kind of a pearlescent look to it, which is really nice. And then we've got the kind of a golden cuffs, and then on the tips of her shoes and her ankle waist there as well. Ankle waist? Man, I can't think of the correct words today. I guess, is it part of her boots or is it her pants? I don't know. But either way, it does have some nice gold bits down there. Lovely earrings as well. Pretty similar to that of the 2.0 Vegito, with the moulding and colouring. It's really nice. Her abs are well defined. It looks really good. And I like the matte finish that she kind of has on her actual body. It's a semi-matte gloss look. I think, yeah, it looks really nice. So I think aesthetically, yeah, she looks pretty good. This kind of, we'll get into a bit more soon, but I think her weird kind of ass, I know, flappy bit is a bit weird. How it kind of, it's part of her weight and kind of sits there, it is a bit loose, so you can kind of see it kind of jiggles up and down a bit. It's a bit weird. There's a few things about this figure so far which it's pretty reminiscent of the Chi-Chi release. So yeah, I don't know, it's one of those moments. She looks good, but kind of had these weird bits which kind of yeah, detracts from her. I know a lot of people will complain about these legs, especially the knee joints. I think it's one of those points where it's either a con or a pro, depending on what you prefer, the aesthetic look or the actual range of articulation. I think it's done a really good job of hiding it on the front, making the joints kind of blend into the legs nicely. But we'll go over this a little bit more when we talk about the articulation, which I think we can actually do now. Oh, actually before that, I do want to point out one little wee detail here, which is quite hard to see earlier, is she does have a white hairband on her hair at the back there. I think that is really cool. Something that does give her that little bit of extra detail, and something a little bit different as well. I think it's nice. I mean, overall her design is pretty simple, so any little wee attention and detail like that is really nice. They could have simply just left it green, but having it white I think is actually very nice. But here I don't think there's any points of articulation. No, there isn't. So yeah, let's jump over to articulation with her head. Okay, for the articulation we can start at the head, and yeah, I think she has a pretty decent range there. She's got like a really nice head neck peg joint in there, which does give her a decent range of motion up and down, and it holds her head really well considering the volume of hair that she has. So yeah, it's got the tilt action, up and down, swivel, everything there is really nice. Though she does have a solid neck, no joint in there at all. I mean, she's got a pretty small body, so I think having that joint in there could have made the shoulder areas a bit of a weak point, and maybe it would have been quite ugly. And I don't think it would have really added much to the figure overall. So I think not having a neck joint there isn't really a issue for me, at least. The shoulders though, yeah, I think we've got a nice range of motion. It could come forward a little bit further, but there is an okay range there going forward and back. And the ball joint in there is quite, oh, these arms do pop off for the cross arm joint, so these do have a small peg, so do be careful with those. But yeah, as I was saying, decent range of motion. You can go up and around easily. The usual range of the elbow joint as well, but everything feels really nice and smooth, so no real issues there. She's got pretty small wee hands, but yeah, we've got a nice joint in there which has the usual amount of movement. She doesn't have anything drastic on her body which will hinder movement, which is really nice. Coming down to her chest here, so her abs will move independently of the torso top part, but due to the shape you don't get too much left or right movement, just a little bit. But yeah, she does have that decent arch going on, so you can get back really far. That's pretty impressive. Though depending on the angle you have her, the joint does look a bit ugly. So coming down to that bottom part here, this is where she really reminds me of the Chi-Chi figure, where the waist and I guess the stomach area, it kind of leaves a ugly gaping hole there. It doesn't really match up too nicely, and again with this kind of whole floating arse section, I think it would have been nice if they could have had this a bit separated, to be honest. But it's just kind of, yeah, the whole arse crotch area, it's a bit weird. But anyway, the articulation for the torso, as I was saying, is actually really nice. Going forward, not quite as good, but the back arch is fantastic. For the legs, yeah, this is where we're going to see quite a few more limits. She does have some really big thighs, and then with that waist area, it does hinder it. You don't get much of a spread going on. You do have a slight twist, but again, nothing much. These legs are pretty basic. And the knee is okay, basically just 90 degree there. I guess like, yeah, lunch and even the bomber is a bit better there. Now she does have a really simple design, so I think they've tried to make it so you don't really see the joint in her kind of skin tight uniform that she wears, or clothes. It is kind of a trade-off. It's not too bad. I mean, it does look pretty nice, and the joint is well covered. Even on the back there, it's pretty seamless, which is quite nice, though the range of articulation is a bit limited. Though, moving down to her feet, now her feet are actually really nice. Ian, Slag, numerous other people. But yeah, I mean, it's got a really nice ball joint in there. Got the forward and back tilting, the swivel, so you can kind of get it on a nice angle and tilt it off to the side. And that kind of does help compensate for some of the articulation which is lost in those legs. So yeah, I mean, it's okay. I don't know, maybe I was a bit harsh on her when I first got her, and I was like, yeah, nah, definitely lower than Chi-Chi. I think if you really like the character, the cons so far, articulation isn't too big. But yeah, anyway, let's check out those faces. So the default one that comes on her is the kind of slightly looking up, kind of semi-grin, and yeah, I think it looks nice. The painting, placement, everything looks really good, and the sculpting is nice as well. Next face is the teeth gritting one. This one's really good, got some good emotion coming through those eyes with the curves, and yeah, I think this one looks really nice. And thirdly, we've got the open mouth screaming face, and yeah, let's chuck this on her now. To put the faces on, just grab her bangs, they pop off, and then the face will come off as well. So there is a few peg marks in there, 2 for the face, and then the 2 big ones and 2 small ones for the bang. And yeah, slots on nice and easy. Moving over to the effects, the one key blast one, the small one, attaches to the hand like the Android, so nothing too new there. The hands pop on easily as well, plus we do have these arms. So let's chuck this on and have a wee look. Man, what a faff that was to get those arms on, and it doesn't even really look too good. I mean, admittedly I don't have it clipped on properly, and that's just because I'm going to take them off straight away for the arms so we can show the effect. But I mean, straight on, doesn't look too bad. I think you'd have to fiddle around with these arms for a bit to get the pegs lined up on the correct angle so you can pop them in. But I feel like it might be quite hard to take off as well. So if you like the look, it's probably worth the effort. If not, I'd just leave them in the packaging. Though I must say, the finger sculpting on the hands and the moulding looks really nice, and all the finish is really clean. So they've done a great job of that. But overall, I'm never a big fan of these types of arms, putting them on or off. It's always just more hassle than it's worth. Okay, so I've got the effects on her, and yeah, the colouring, the red to the green is really nice. The green blends in well with her hair, and yeah, the hands actually pop on really easily. Overall, they're not too heavy, so she is kind of holding them up pretty well. But depending on the angle you put them at, if the joint is kind of facing the wrong way, they will slowly droop down over time. So that's something to keep in mind if you're going to pose it in this position. And speaking of posing, I did take a photo of it with these on, and a similar pose to what's on the box for the Rockchala reference page, and that was a mission. If you want to get it looking good for stand, if you put the stand around her waist, it covers up her whole waist. I ended up just putting it around her leg and just kind of had her balancing there, but long term, if you have it displayed, it's probably not ideal. I really think she should have had some type of hole or a plug in the back of her upper body there, where you could slot it in a stand to hold her up. I think if they had that, that would have been really good. Something similar to what Jace and Piccolo has. Like, I guess her whole outfit is quite simple, so it might have been quite hard to do in a nice way. Though, if they had something like that, or maybe a unique clip stand for her, I think it would have been pretty cool. But as far as unique effects go, this is absolutely fantastic. I hope we do see more of these types of effects going forward in the line. It would be something that I'd be very grateful for. Okay, so for a bit of a size comparison, we've got good old trusty Saiyan raised on Earth Goku. And yeah, he's definitely a fair bit taller than Kefla. And I think, yeah, the sizing looks pretty good and pretty accurate to the show from what I remember. Has been a while, so yeah, let me know in the comments below what you think of this size comparison here, if you think it is on point or not. But yeah, let's move Goku out of the way and jump into the final thoughts. Okay, so for the pros and cons for Kefla, straight up with the pros, these effects are badass. The extra detail on her hair with that white band looks really nice. Her overall finish is really good. Eyes, face, the usual. Tamashi's been nailing that lately, so you can't really go wrong there. The earrings look really good, her abs are good as well, and that back arch articulation. Articulation of the arms, not bad, and her hair does have some good range. Now the cons, I don't know, like, I didn't like this figure when I first got her. She's kind of grown on me a little bit. I think if you love this character, you'll really like it. If you're kind of on the fence about this character in the first place, I think it's an easy pass. I mean, that's partly due to some of the cons, which is the leg articulation isn't very good. It makes kind of posing and getting into some cool dynamic action poses a bit difficult, especially since she is a bit top heavy with that big head. The weird waist kind of connected to the ass part, again, it hinders articulation. It kind of moves up and down a little bit, and it creates a massive gap around her abs and lower back, and it's not the nicest look. The changing the folding arms is a little bit fiddly since she has very tiny pegs, but yeah, I mean, they're not massive cons, I guess. Again, this is the type of thing where it comes down to what you like. Do you like the aesthetic look more or the articulation more? And that's really going to be the deciding factor for you. If you love this character, I think, yeah, grab her. I don't think you'll really be disappointed, to be honest. Looking forward to hearing what you guys reckon about this figure, if it's good or not. So please do let me know in the comments below. And yeah, I'll have more photos of her at the end of this video, as well as up on Rockchala and Instagram later. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. There will be Krillin coming in a few days, so keep an eye out for his review too. Anyway, cheers!